This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. Right now, we are speaking with CJ Gilbert, who is known as the Web Safari Guide. Ooh, okay. CJ has been a website developer for over 20 years, and now he is a speaker and author teaching business owners how to use their websites as their number one business tool so they can make more money and serve their clients better, faster, and easier. CJ empowers entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, and authors to spread their unique message and gifts, and therefore collectively help millions. So I've already halfway answered question number 2 that I was going to ask you, but that's okay. CJ Gilbert, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's do question number 1. Tell us more about how the work you do makes the world a better place for your clients, customers, and society at large.
Absolutely. You know, I see the work that I do acting kind of like a magnifying glass or a megaphone. I typically serve other business owners, speakers, coaches, authors, and their passion is their message out to the world, or their service, or their gift. They're serving a particular audience. So I see my work magnifying that effort. Through my work, I'm able to help them reach more people, help them do better business, increase their efficiency. So I see myself as that magnifying glass or that megaphone to help them reach even more people.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I love your perspective on this. I used to own a web development firm. I closed it 10 years ago at this point. Mm-hmm. And what I recognize, I wouldn't go back to it because candidly, I didn't enjoy it. It's for a certain type of person. That may be you. For myself, what I attracted, because at the time I didn't know as much about messaging and also my own authenticity, are the folks who would pay a whole bunch of money and say, oh, this will be great. We're going to be organized. We're going to get this project done in 6 weeks. And it's, the entire conversation about bringing them in was a big love fest. So fast forward 6 months, and I get the 19th message of, when the hell will my website finally go live? And then I would say, okay, when the hell will you finally get that stuff to me that I've been waiting for, that I asked on this date, this date, this date, this date, and this date? That's not an indictment of the client. They were good people.
Yes.
This is just illustrates where the messaging about developing a website, getting a website going, sometimes gets convoluted. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing about what you need to do to really get that to happen becomes mixed up. And I'm very happy to see, particularly over the past 10 years, that not entirely, but by and large, the industry has moved away from that approach. And there's much more awareness out there that, yes, you can actually have a website that is one page and go live with it like right away.
Sure.
Well, in the later years, we tended to focus on clients. And one of the things I would check with them on during the intake process is, how would you feel about having your website live in 2 weeks? And they would say, oh, gee, wow. And I'd say, okay, I didn't say the project done in 2 weeks. I said, how would you feel about having a live website that you can use to attract prospects and clients in 2 weeks while we build this thing that you're paying us for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what I was looking for were the folks who recognized the value of having a website, which is to attract prospects and customers. If they said, oh, there's no way I could do that, I would be so embarrassed in front of my industry, I discovered they really weren't the best people for us to serve, but there were other firms who could. So my no created somebody else's yes. But what I like about your approach is you keep that focus on the value that they gain from it. One of my persuasion tools in my toolbox at the time has said, yeah, but if we do it my way, you can get your current customers to pay for this even before it's live. That moves some of them and helped them understand what I was really saying.
That's great.
So just to be absolutely clear, what is it that you actually do?
Sure, absolutely. Well, we have touched on it a little bit, but I'll expand that idea. It's website design, website development. I help people build websites, maintain their websites, and I offer some related services. So I also offer website hosting. I can help them with the confusing conversation around domain names and website hosting and email setup. A lot of people have no idea how that works. So I can help them connect those pieces together. I offer something called web directory listings. A lot of business owners don't know they're being sucked into these online business directories without even really understanding that. And that can affect their SEO and their ranking overall because of where they appear and if that information is correct or not. So that's one of the services we can help people take a look at and then correct.
Oh, and sure.
Then my final thing I want to touch on is something that I don't know if I invented this, but it's a term I'm using a lot right now, and it's called web coaching. In other words, through the power of Zoom or the internet, we can get together at any moment. We can work on whatever you need to, if it's a website, if it's social media, or if it's some other tool online that you need to learn how to work with. We can work one-on-one. Web coaching is what I like to call that.
Oh, I love that. And see, if some of the tools had been more commonly available by then, maybe I would have had a different experience with it. I mean, the clients were all great people. Some of them are still my clients because they've stayed with me for the full ride as my business has evolved. And as far as and another thing that was in my toolbox is I would say candidly, okay, the reason we want to have you have a phase 1 website up in 2 weeks from the moment we sign on the dotted line, you give me the money is not only so that you can be marketing and getting clients who will pay for this, but then when the 6-week project inevitably takes 6 months, at least in the meantime, you've had a website up the whole time.
Right.
If they laughed, I knew they got it. If they scowled, I knew this could be a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think you know what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
With they say it's going to take this, you swear it's going to take less than that, and you believe it.
Yeah.
But then. So part of what I love about your solution is how you step in with coaching and you step in with ancillary services that show them the larger picture, which to me, if I were your client, would inspire me to say, yeah, I might want to participate in this because look at all these other things that are just going to happen as a result of me getting this thing done.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the web directory listing, they pull stuff at random and it can totally screw you up. That's a whole separate conversation. What are 3 of the most common questions that you get, the frequently asked questions about what you do?
Absolutely. This is an interesting question because most people have no idea what to ask. And so the most common thing they say is they don't even know where to start or what to do or how to even ask. It comes out in a series of words like a website, what and how, and what do we do? So to even help these folks, I've created kind of a starter series of steps. Even before we get to the part of talking about how much it costs or what kind of a website they're looking for, I'll send them a list of questions, basically a questionnaire that we'll go over in our first conversation together so they can really focus on some of the things that we're going to talk about. Number 1, your goals. What are your goals for your website? What do you want it to do for you? What do you want it to do for your customer? And then also, who is that customer? Teach me about your target audience. Maybe it's a primary or a secondary audience. The more I can learn about what they're doing and the people that they're serving, the better we can create that tool that's going to serve both parties the best. Yeah.
And I love how you approach that. It's almost like your frequently asked questions. And that's perfectly fine. We do like the unique answers we sometimes get on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. When I had the firm, they had to fill out a questionnaire before I'd even schedule a call with them. And if they balked at that, I would say, okay, then find somebody else. Because I could not serve them. I couldn't even have a conversation with them without knowing that stuff. And if they were the type, and I only got 2 or 3 of these who would say, you either want my business or you don't. I'd say, okay, I don't.
Make it real easy.
The funny thing is one of those actually came back to me and said, wow, you really made me think. And they became a great client.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So what are the questions you wish people would ask?
Absolutely. There's a lot of questions. When I'm first talking to people, it's really like an educational process because they don't know even enough to know what to ask. Right. So I set them up with this initial series of questions. I offer them my free video workshops so they can get a better idea of what's even happening. And one of the questions they ask is, how much does it cost? And that's a huge question I get all the time. People want to know, how much does a website cost? So as part of that conversation, after we talk about their goals, what they're looking for, then we can lead into the conversation that there's actually several different kinds of websites that we can build. And I talk them through that process. And it's after figuring out what they want and which kind of website we're going to even build for them, then we can get over to the cost part of it. So that's a number one question, but it's really not the first thing we can talk about. We got to talk about these other steps first.
Exactly.
Right?
So for the last few minutes here, let's shift gears a little bit and have some fun.
Sure.
What would folks who know you be surprised to learn about you?
Absolutely. I love languages. I've been a computer geek all my life. That's not going to be a surprise to anybody. But other things that I studied along the way were languages. I got into German because of my own heritage. And so I don't want to say I'm fluent in German, but I know quite a bit of it. I studied it for several years. I was also pre-med going through school, and then I ended up getting involved in a program which took me to Moscow, Russia. Shortly after I graduated from high school, I spent a semester in Moscow, Russia in a medical program there. So that was very interesting experience. Yeah, very eye-opening. And my greatest love of all, besides all this geek web stuff, is about music. I love music. I play the piano and the guitar, and I love to sing. So those are some fun things that I really enjoy.
What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
That's a great question. I really hope that that people understand that I truly care about them. I care about people. I care about their business. I want them to succeed. I hope they talk about the resources that I share, the videos and the resources and the education that I'm always putting out on YouTube and these other places, because no matter whether they ever hire me or pay me $1, I still want them to have this information. I still want them to use it to better their business.
That's why our listeners,
a client or not.
Yeah, that's why our listeners need to stay till the very end on this one. If you could go back in time and change one thing you've done or one thing that's happened for you, what would it be and why?
That's such a great question. And I've thought about this over and over again. And I think my answer has to be nothing. Because everything that's happened in my life has built my character, it's built my story, it's part of my history, and all those things add up to what is right now. So I don't think I'd change anything.
That's cool. What famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet? And if you had the opportunity, what questions would you have for them?
Another excellent question that I feel like I'm going to sidestep a little bit. I could not think of a single person that I'd want to ask. But the answer that did come to my mind is I love books and I read a lot of books. And I feel like whether alive or dead, books are a great way for people from the past or now to share information with us and share answers with us. So I feel like I get the opportunity to ask these folks questions through their work that still exists through books.
Wow, if we ever have Brilliance Plus Passion Podcast Awards for most interesting answers to questions, you may be a contender for
Fantastic.
Question number 8. So question number 9, what motivates you and inspires you to keep going when you face a challenge or having a tough time?
Really great question as well. I'd like to give you 2 answers to this one since I sidestepped the last kind of ones.
All right, I'll let you make up for it. I'm kidding.
So the higher answer is, I am a Christian and I believe in God and I have a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And there is nothing else, I think, on earth that can take the place of understanding that there's a higher purpose in our life and there's a higher calling on our life, and gives us kind of a greater perspective than where we are stuck in our day-to-day life. And I'd like to follow that up to say kind of the lower answer, if you will, is the mentors that I plug into and the coaching that I get through. There's a gentleman I follow by the name of Eric Lofholm who offers a daily training. I'm sure you know Eric. And
not personally, but I see those daily trainings too.
Absolutely. And that kind of motivation, that daily motivation, and some of those things that get stuck in your head. One of his frequently said things is do the next right thing. And for me in my business, when I don't know what else to do and I feel like we're having a tough time, I can just focus on that one thing and do the next right thing.
I found myself when I have a heck of a time getting started with something for whatever reason that I can or can't figure out, I just get started with it. And it just puts me in that in a combination of a problem solving mode and also I really want to get it done mode. It's like when I go in World Series of Poker and I just keep spinning the wheel over and over again until I maintain my rank. It's like I keep spinning it because I see the little green bar moving and I'm maintaining my rank.
Nice.
So I'll sit there for $2 billion fictional dollars if I have to get there. So finally, and I know you have a special gift for our listeners.
Sure.
I will tell them about that.
Yeah.
In general, what is right now one action you would want our listeners to take as soon as they finish listening to this?
Absolutely. The one thing I want you to take away from my message today is this. Your website is the only thing you can fully own and control online. And isn't it true that every other platform out there wants you to come to their platform and build up their website, essentially? But you must remember that it's your own website. It's the only thing that you really have any full control over. And so my encouragement for your audience today is, how can you use that idea as the foundation for everything else that you may do online?
Wow. Fantastic. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. And before you go, this is what I want to share with your listeners. I encourage all of them to go to www.mywebsitesafari.com. I'll say that again, www.mywebsitesafari.com. And what they are going to find, and this is very, very interesting. I may look into it myself, even though I'm in no immediate need of a website, just because I'm so curious. It's a video series called The 5 Keys to Unlock the Profit Hidden in Your Website. The question you ask is, could your website be doing more for your business? This free virtual business workshop contains 7 on-demand videos, less than 10 minutes each. Okay, that's about 1 cigar. Packed with important business information, challenging questions, enlightening exercises, and valuable bonus resources. One more time, www.mywebsitesafari.com. Go there. And with that, CJ Gilbert, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an honor, and believe me, an education.
My pleasure, Adam. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.